This morning's talk is going to be relatively short because I cut some things out of it this morning, but still very intense. Today we're celebrating Thanksgiving, which is this coming Thursday, and so what better title than the spirit of gratitude. So let me begin with something Shakespeare said, and this was from the 12th Night. He said, "I hate ingratitude more in a man than lying, vainness, babbling, drunkenness, or any taint of vice, whose strong corruption inhabits our frail blood." That's Shakespeare. And if you're really into Shakespeare's 12th Night, that was from Act 3, Scene 4. Now, Master Moria. Master Moria tells us this. This is from the book Hierarchy. He says that gratitude is one of the main qualities of justice. He says, without justice, one cannot reach the path of great service. Therefore, in pointing out the necessity for the realization of gratitude, we only assist the great service. How beautiful is gratitude! It is so easily kindling the fire of the heart, and as if in the presence of the image of the Lord, it fills the spirit with nobility. Then he talks about the ingrate, and it kind of reminded me of Shakespeare using the word ingratitude, and now Master M is using the word ingrate. He says the ingrate is, first of all, ignoble, which is the opposite, of course, of nobility. We term nobility the benevolent accumulations from former lives, while upon earth, nobility is considered only according to one's birth. One should especially develop gratitude, because gratitude is a sister of loyalty. It is necessary to realize how difficult it is sometimes for the teacher to combine the best possibilities. One must know how to assist by the fire of one's own heart. So that's from the book Hierarchy, Sutra 182. And it would be a good seed thought, for this week. To really go through it line by line and word by word and see whether depth we can reach in understanding. Living in a country like the United States, which provides an abundance not experienced in undeveloped countries, we oftentimes see how we as a society are afflicted by thoughtless arrogance. I think the spirit of gratitude has dimmed. We can look, all around us and to see how people feel that they are entitled. When things go wrong in their life, they look at God and say, "Why would you do this to me?" What is the word entitlement? People feel that, that they are entitled. I was watching the TV program called 2020. Recorded that program. It was on this boy that the movie is now being, I guess it's out. It's called The Wonder Boy. Oh, my gosh. Here's this young family with a boy, and I can't begin to pronounce the disease he had, but it, disfigured his face and his health, and he had so many different operations, from the time he was born on up to where he is now, and to see the love that seemed to just open up the family's heart. And the father, particularly, if you've seen this, the father is so tender and so real. I mean, he was crying during the interview. It was so real. And apparently there is a book that was written about this particular type of extraordinary disease, that this author, who had never met this family, never had met this young child, wrote a book about this problem, and it paralleled this family's life, including a particular musical song that was sung by Christina Aguilera called Beauty, I think it was. And I thought, this is extraordinary. Things don't just happen like this. They're significant, they're intentional. And as dramatic and difficult as having a child born to you like that, during this process, the mother was diagnosed with cancer. Not one time, at least they didn't portray this, not one time did they say, why us? They were so grateful for the opportunity to love this child. And this child, this smile when this child was just incredible. And I thought, what a perfect story to show, to show us the spirit of gratitude. It goes deep into our bones. The spirit of gratitude goes deep into our bones. We can't just mentally say, thank you, God, for this problem, I appreciate it. Because we don't mean it. It's like we're saying it because we're supposed to say it, or we're supposed to believe it. It's got to come from the inside out. And it takes a spiritual maturity to truly know and experience the spirit of gratitude. And once we have that experience, there's nothing like it. And then, to me, in that experience, then the words of Master Moria really come alive when he says the ingrate, first of all, is ignoble, has no nobility. So let me go on. Nicholas Rourke, he always recollected with gratitude his most hostile associates. And those of you that know his biography and what an extraordinary life that he and his wife and family lived, and the enemies that they had, serious enemies, attackers that did everything to bring them down. And it appeared that those dark enemies were successful in bringing him down, closing down the Mester Art of Institute, eliminating all his hard work, his paintings. But it did not stop them. It did not stop him from painting. It did not stop Helena Rourke and her relationship with Master Moria. They continued on, and they never said, why us, Lord? Never. They were so grateful. He says, because these dark ones were those who helped him develop his vigilant eye, his readiness of wit, and the essential firmness and discipline of spirit. Thus, we too must learn to regard the conduct of critical people, of those without gratitude, as based on whims that cannot insult you, but can only make you feel sorry for those who return to the senseless habits of childhood. There is a story that you've heard several times, and it's always perfect to talk about it, for me anyway, on during Thanksgiving week. And this is a story about St. Sergius and his disciples because it's so beautiful. It's a story that is found in the book On Eastern Crossroads by Helena Rourke. She describes St. Sergius as one with a gray beard. She says how his flaming spirit permeates all he gives to others and performs in service. Her story describes how his disciples revere him and bow themselves before this mighty prince. As the story goes on, it says, and I quote, "But should the bread cart be delayed, the beloved brethren cannot sustain their faith, not even for a single hour. Should his purse be momentarily depleted, then the worthy and chosen brethren are ready to barter the wondrous bliss for a stranger's penny." One day, the monastery was without bread for 2 days. Some of the monks commented to St. Sergius, saying, "We have followed you. We have obeyed your orders. But tomorrow we are going to go look for food. We will not return because we cannot bear poverty and the lack of food in this place." St. Sergius responded through the words of Matthew by saying, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, nor about your body, nor what you shall put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds in the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" He told them that they were being tested. He stated that although you do not now have any bread, tomorrow God will give you all that you need. As he was talking to the monks, a person knocked on the door of the monastery, bringing 2 full carts of bread and food. St. Sergius did not eat anything, but went instead to thank God. Only after giving gratitude did he bless the breads and distribute them to the entire community. Helena Rourke told her students, "Preserve gratitude throughout all the gray days of life, because this is the quickest way to broaden your consciousness." And is this not the aim of the teaching? So I'm going to repeat this. She wrote, persevere gratitude throughout all the gray days of life, because this is the quickest way to broaden your consciousness. And is this not the aim of the teaching? So how grateful we should be for the gifts that we enjoy. Absence of gratitude is the mark of the narrow and uneducated mind, absence of gratitude. It demonstrates a lack of spiritual knowledge. Isn't that interesting? It demonstrates a lack, and also an ignorance of self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency. An absence of gratitude expresses itself in ugly egotism, anger, vanity, jealousy, and revenge. One of the things I think we can observe in people that are ignoble and have ingratitude is to really observe their lives. Do they have joy? This is what I find with people who have no gratitude. They do not have joy. The teaching used the word self-sufficient. When a person practices what they consider is self-sufficiency, they don't see the help that's being given to them. The invisible helpers, the help from friends, the inflow of energy that may be coming from your chalice that you accumulated over many incarnations. You know, we're told that oftentimes it's not until the 11th hour that help comes. But we are so impatient. You know, the 11th hour is like 30 years away. And so through thinking of self-sufficiency, we forget faith, we forget gratitude, we forget karma, all the things that the teaching instructs. And then here comes Helena Rourke telling us, preserve gratitude throughout all the gray days, you know, of your life, because this is the quickest way to broaden your consciousness. Then we have, oh my gosh, 3, 4, maybe 5 books that Torkim Saradarian wrote about consciousness. So to understand what is Helena Rourke talking to us about the aim of the teaching is to broaden our consciousness. Meditate on it. Look at where your consciousness is today and where it was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. This is firsthand experience to learn what, you know, expansion of consciousness means. Are we still focused on the material life? Are we still focused on what Saint Sergius was telling his disciples about? He said, don't be anxious about your life, about what you eat, about what you drink, about your body, how you're going to dress. He says, is not life more than food and clothing? Well, I don't know, I had a tough time deciding what to wear this morning, but you know, it's a distraction. Is it too cold? Is it hot? What's it going to be? You know, but he says, look at the birds in the air. They're being fed. You know, this is to help us expand our consciousness. Essentially, when we go through these gray days of our life, to have trust. And I've also learned not to have expectation. If we create this attitude of expectation of, how can I explain this? There is a particular minister in Texas who has tens of thousands of congregants that follow him, and I have some friends that are very, very involved with his teaching and believe him 100%. And now they're becoming extremely disappointed because what he has promised them has not come true. He says, God will answer you. God will provide for you. All you have to do is this, this, and this, and this, and then be patient and wait. Doesn't bring in what we believe, and that is the spirit of gratitude. Doesn't talk about karma. Doesn't talk about our actions, how important our actions and our thoughts are. And so now some of my friends said, like, let me give you this book called The 100 Names of God, and start meditating on these 100 names of God. Because why? God doesn't punish. Hey? If God doesn't punish, how can God reward? See, these are thoughts and questions that we want to explore and discover. If God doesn't punish and God doesn't reward, then where does punishment come and where does reward come from? If not from the history of our soul. It goes into a very deep, some deep thinking, and some people are going to be really not happy with what I'm saying, but life bears it out. When you see this young boy, wonder boy, being born like this, and the family not seeing themselves as a victim, and yet we miss work for 3 days, how can God do this to us? It's our perspective of life and the purpose of life. How grateful we should be for the gifts that we have been given. We have seen our beaches, our parks, our forests littered with ugly refuse by those who evidently have no appreciation for beauty. We are creating so much of that ugliness on the planet in which we live. And it's not just the refuse that we see lying on the ground. It's now what humans are doing to humans. We are creating so much of that ugliness on the planet that we live. Of course, it's found in polluted waters and air. Here we are. It's almost the 20th of November. Thanksgiving, it's going to be 76 degrees in Prescott. Tell me that God is doing this to us. See, how stupid to think that way. We are doing this to ourselves. Where is the gratitude? The gratitude is the recognition that we can do something about it. The gratitude is that there are so many illumined and enlightened human beings and disciples and world disciples that are now coming forth and recognizing there is no time. The 11th hour is past, in my opinion. It is past. We have gone past the 11th hour. We're a minute before midnight. Now hierarchy is going to step in. And how is hierarchy going to step in? Through us. Through the instruments of hierarchy. We just have to be there to support. How do we speak? This is part of this refuge as well. Do we speak beautifully? In our language, do we have melodious voices? Or are we coarse in our language? In our dress? Are we sloppy in our dress and manners, and a behavior that blemishes the beauty of the great ones who have walked before us? The other day, someone commented to me about Helena Rourke, and if you never see Helena Rourke in slacks, never. And can you imagine her with Nicholas Rourke and George and Svetoslav and their team of Sherpas climbing the Himalayan mountains, and she's in a dress and heels? We live in very different times. Very different time. We have to find ways to be beautiful as examples of the great ones that walked before us. With the spirit of gratitude, we can meet the challenges of each new day. Where there is appreciation and gratitude, there is consideration of others. Without gratitude, there is arrogance and evil. Where there is gratitude, there is humility rather than pride. Master M says, when the extreme limit of endurance is reached, the miraculous help always comes. When the extreme limit of endurance is reached, the miraculous help, this is a capital H, help, always comes. Great trust, devotion, and gratitude to the hierarchy of light dwells in the hearts of true disciples. And this is the main reason why it is possible to give miraculous protection and guidance from them. He says, Master M says, when the silver thread linking the heart of the disciple with the teacher is intact, nothing seems to frighten, or whatever is necessary is granted, and whatever is necessary is granted. However, the help comes at the last moment, when all of our abilities and efforts are tensed to the extreme. For example, in the letters of Helena Rourke, she writes, "It is indicated that Lucifer came to our earth together with the high spirits who sacrificed themselves for the acceleration of the evolution of the planet and of humanity. However, Lucifer was not the highest among his brethren, and when the time came for him to take on the earthly and dense sheaths, his spirit could not remain on its former height." In all the following ages, we see him as the fierce antagonist of his great brothers, who were continuously ascending in the glory of light. Lucifer is now at the head of the dark brotherhood, which is very powerful, for it has co-workers among the masses over the entire span of the planet. And that's from Letters of Helena Rourke, Volume 2, December 3rd, 1937. When we do not believe in the spiritual, in this case the power of the spirit of gratitude, we easily fall into the snares set by the numerous agents of darkness. One of the most beautiful spiritual gifts we have to foil the dark agents, the masses of dark agents who try to trap our soul in matter, is the spirit of gratitude. The spirit of gratitude is a divine gift. The spirit of gratitude is made of the very essence of Christ and the hierarchy of this planet. A great one once said that a person is equal to his or her gratitude. So gratitude is the highest form of respect. It means to appreciate and to give recognition to each other. To be grateful is to have in your consciousness the good deeds, feelings, and thoughts that you enjoy in others. It is feeling and expressing gratitude for everything in creation with which we are blessed. Gratitude is a way to radiate our blessings. We must be grateful to the opportunities presented to us. Every opportunity, whether it is painful or joyful, is a chance to increase the light which is within us. Through such opportunities, we build our foundation for the future. That is so vital to remember. Through such opportunities, we are building our foundation for the future. It's like St. Sergius did not waver. He did not, what would the word be, make himself lesser and beg his disciples not to leave. He taught them, where's your faith? And 2 days later, the food was there. Through such opportunities, whether painful or joyful, is a chance to increase the light within us. For example, your spiritual teacher tells you that you have a vanity or that you are behaving in an ugly way. Today's students are going to push back. How can you talk to me like that? Look who I am. You need to change your consciousness, not mine. Wow. I don't know if St. Sergius had disciples like that or not. Ideally, we would like to think not. What are we going to do if a teacher tells us, you need to change your way, you need to practice goodwill, change your attitude, change your thoughts? Some will place a false mask on their face with a smile and turn their back to the guidance and anger and arrogance. Are you going to get mad at the teacher for their honesty, for doing their job? Does your mechanical way of thinking say, who is he to single me out, when there are others who are so much worse? Or, which of course the or is us, when we have the spirit of gratitude for the time and attention that the teacher is giving to us. I know with myself, a couple of times, boy, I got mad. My feelings were so hurt. Of course, Agni Yoga says you cannot have hurt feelings. I definitely have some hurt feelings going on here. Well, those lessons that, because I had such gratitude for our great teacher, such love and gratitude and devotion to his wisdom, that it was only a short time after these admonishments that I got, shaping admonishments, that I was grateful. And today, those words still ring in my ears. These are still lessons unfolding, that are teaching me to broaden my consciousness. It is said, we have two things, that too often our arrogance reacts to the instruction of the teacher. And when this happens, our behaviors will lead us into further problems, and the teacher may withdraw their guidance, leaving us to our own earthly devices. And in Letters of Helena Rourke, she says, "It is said that each gratitude shown to the teacher indicates a right understanding of the teaching. But for the one for whom guidance is burdensome, there can never be any approach to the teacher. The teaching is not abstract, but gives most practical suggestions for the application in life. Therefore, let us hold in our hearts all that is said about the spirit of gratitude, and let us watch the purity of our thoughts." When we lose the spirit of gratitude, we become critical of others and condemn their actions. Helena Rourke states, "From continuous repetitions of criticism and condemnations," this is so amazing, she says, "calluses will appear on the brain. And then how can one achieve the broadening of consciousness?" The teacher wants to see us apply the spirit of gratitude to the opportunities given to us with solemnity and sincerity. Helena Rourke also instructed, and this is the closing, in the teaching it is said that the flame of devotion and gratitude is above all other fiery offerings. The flame of devotion and gratitude is above all other fiery offerings. But alas, these two qualities are particularly rare among the inhabitants of this planet. If we do not know how to express our gratitude, we will never digest the things we receive. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. I just have to repeat this one thing, because I'll tell you why. When she says in the teaching it is said that the flame of devotion and gratitude, well, I'm on this bandwagon because one of our other Blue Book teachings, I'll call it, people have so misconstrued the word devotion, saying, oh, you must be a 6th ray, aspirant, because devotion is the past. So wrong. When Master Moya is talking about the power of devotion and gratitude as being fiery quality, do not think that devotion is a Piscean age, virtue.